Here we go. Nice holiday chat. All right. Hi, Mary. It's nice to see you. I'm
So good to
so
see
excited.
you.
Yeah, it's great. So I want everybody to know that we met just recently, just a couple of weeks ago at the writers retreat that I posted about in Wisconsin. And we were both there to work on our works in progress, and have lots of writing time. So Mary was there with her husband, who's also a writer. And that was so fun to see the two of you doing that together and taking that time to just, do what you love doing. And it wasn't until probably the last day or the second to the last day that I discovered this wonderful secret about Mary. That's not even a secret because apparently 15,000 people know about this, that Mary is a bookstagrammer. And so I have to admit, I had to take a moment and think, okay, I know I've heard of that, but I'm not quite sure, what that involves, how you become one, what it looks like. So of course I jumped onto Instagram as soon as I could and looked at Mary's Instagram account, and it's just so impressive. Just just the amount of posts that you do, the amount of books that you read, the look of it. I mean, it's amazing, and the followers, like I said. So give me a little bit of background, like we didn't have a chance to talk about it when we were on the retreat, but how did you become a bookstagrammer? And what is that like? Is your life just constantly, you know, reading and books and just all things having to do with publishing?
It's funny because I actually hate social media. And I was like, I did not get on Facebook. I was like my husband's like was like, Facebook's the best thing. You can reach out and see all these people. And I was like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to see people that way. So I was really, really resistant. And actually it was at the retreat that we were just at, but the first time I went, which was a few years ago, and they were saying that you have to have a platform, you have to have a platform. And I was like, I don't want, so I got on Facebook and I was like, I'll try to do this, but I couldn't ever figure out what to post. It's a long answer. And I then I took a class on social media for authors, and they were like, just pick one that you like. And they're like, just try it for like a month. And if you hate it, stop. And so I got on Instagram, and I didn't know what a bookstagrammer was. I didn't know what I was going to do. And at first I was trying just to post different things from my life, but it felt really weird and I couldn't really, it just didn't feel good. And then I was like, what I love to do is read. I'm going to post about books. And I started doing that. And it was actually right before the pandemic, which was a terrible time, clearly, but a great time to be on Instagram, because that was the way I was connecting with people. And I immediately, there were all of these buddy reads that people would host. And we got like really big authors to Zoom with us, including like Emily Henry and Catherine Center.
Wow.
Like, right. It was crazy. And I mean, because they couldn't leave their houses either. So people were strangely accessible and people were really open to following people. So I think I kind of got in at a really sweet spot where it was easy to kind of grow your account. And then I realized you could get free books from publishers, which was amazing. And it's like, and I read constantly, and I mostly listen to audiobooks now, but it's a really fun community. And it's, there's definitely, I guess people say there's drama on all social media on some
Yeah.
level, but I have found the Bookstagram community to be incredibly sweet and supportive. Like, people will send each other birthday presents off your Amazon wish list. Like, it's just a really
Oh,
nice group of
wow.
people. And I haven't found the drama there. And, it's not really about sharing your life, it's about sharing your love of books, which is fabulous.
So how do you go so quickly though to so many followers? Is it because, like you said, it was maybe a sweet spot, or, I mean, it's not just it doesn't sound like a part-time thing, or at least, or maybe it is. From just the sheer amount of books that you're posting about, and you're not just throwing up a picture. You're writing about them. Is it a full-time job?
It takes more time than it probably should. When it started as something to like promote my writing, like I was like, I'll build this community, and then when I have a book, I'll have this community. But then I went out on, I was querying with my first book, and that didn't go as well as I'd hoped. And now I'm working on another book. So we'll see. Like, maybe this will serve me for the purpose I started it for, or maybe it won't. I don't know. But it's not a full-time job. It definitely takes, like, the reading takes a lot of time, and the posting takes like, it's probably like an hour a day to do the posts.
Okay.
So it's not, and other people say like you should batch your posts and take a bunch of pictures all in one day. And I think that's great advice. It isn't something I've been able to do. Like I figure out what I'm going to post that day. That's kind of just how my brain works. I've tried it. I think it would be more
Yeah.
efficient to have everything ready, but it's just not how my brain works. But the reading is the thing that I love. And that, since I listen to really, I mean, I would say I listen to 99.9% of my books now. If there's no audiobook, I kind of panic. And that I do all the time. Like
So
when I'm
does the
driving,
publisher send you, does the publisher send you an audio version, or just do they send you the hardcovers, or I mean
um,
the
I'm on a
actual
couple publishers. I work with a couple publishers as audio influencers. And I'm also a Libro FM. They have monthly, I'm a Libro FM influencer and they have monthly books that you can get. And then I'm with Penguin Random House and Macmillan. And then you can also get other ones on NetGalley that are audio. And then I
Okay.
also have my library that has 3 different audio apps that I'm like kind of crazy with my how I manage my books. But I listen like when I'm in the car, I listen when I'm grocery shopping, I listen when I'm brushing my teeth. I listen like all the time. So
Okay. Well, so for people who may not be like I haven't been very much on Instagram. When I have popped on it, to my so-called account, which has, nothing on it, I'm always a little baffled by, I'm not sure how this works and what the point is. And, so I've been working on that. But, so, your account just always is so colorful. Of course, has all of these lovely book covers. Every day you're posting stuff, which is incredible. Like, you just said. And I noticed today when I popped on there, you said something about you had read in June, or you had listened to 14 books in June. And then also that the last one that was due at the library, you sat in the parking lot and read it
it's
before you
true.
had to turn it.
Yes. That's
That's
true.
commitment. Like, that's amazing.
It was a
Wow.
play. I'm really bad about it. It was a play that wasn't on, like, there was no audio and it was short. It was only 90 pages and I'd had it out for 9 weeks. So it was almost more like a pride thing that I was like, I have to just get this. I wanted to see what this was. Like, let me just finish it.
Yeah.
So
But
it was
still, I mean,
only,
only 90 pages. I feel embarrassed. Like, I can't, even when I do an audiobook, and I usually have, a real book that I carry around or by my bed, and then, 1 or 2 audiobooks, but I'll be lucky to get through 2 in a month. I wish I had that kind of, like, I don't know, super muscle to get through more books.
I would argue that 2 in a month is still a ton of books and most people are reading none.
That's
I
true.
would say that. And I would say also like I speed up the audiobooks. So like it's not like, and I should probably be doing other things. Like I sat yesterday and listened to this entire book when I should have been writing, but I couldn't put it down. So I just feel like there's no like the comparison in people's reading habits. I just feel like you just shouldn't like because you're doing like 2 books is amazing. You have all these other things going on in your life. You're writing and you're running a business and you're like running a residency and all these other things. You have kids and a husband and a life. Like 2 books a
Yeah.
month is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but I still want to do more. I want to aspire to be, to do at least half as many as you do. But maybe not in a month, but we'll see. But I wanted to also, you say, and I put in the description, and I also will link to your Instagram account so people can see what we're talking about, and your website as well. But you are an aspiring, I don't want to say aspiring YA author. Well, that's true, but you've already written 2 or 3 YA books, working on that. But you're not just bookstagramming about YA books. You have all kinds of books, right? And I know that because as we were taking a walk on the retreat, I was talking about, trying to find comps, comparable titles. When you pitch the agents or send your queries, you need to have comp titles to tell them, just in a flash, kind of what your book is about. And I was saying I was struggling a bit, and just like this, off the top of her head, Mary mentions these 2 books, which of course immediately bought.
I love
Um,
both those books. They're not
yeah,
new,
and
but I highly recommend both.
they turned out to be such perfect comps, at least in some ways. I mean, your comp doesn't have to, of course, be exactly
Right.
like a book, but you want to be able to say it has elements of this book and it has elements of this book. And this is something that's hard to do. At least I found, and a lot of authors I talk to, it's tough when you want to pitch it. You pitch your book or give your elevator pitch or explain to people what it's like. It's sort of like what we hear about from Hollywood, right? It's this movie meets this movie, and we need to do the same thing. And so I was pretty impressed with that. Like you just kind of fired away these titles. So yeah, how do you use this with your own writing? And I mean, is you must just be this well of all of this information coming in. Does it make your own writing easier? Does it make it harder because you have so much kind of, competing voices in your head?
Um, I would say that like I think it's probably both, right? Like seeing how other people do different things and seeing how like authors that you love handle certain situations. Like I know I was writing a steamy scene. I was writing YA exclusively, and I've switched to trying to write adult rom-coms because the YA market for rom-coms is not great right now. I really hope it comes back because it's one of my favorite. And it's not that it's non-existent, it's just not like what it used to be. A lot of
Yeah.
YA authors who are published are actually switching to adults. So, but anyway, I was writing a steamy scene the other day and I pulled out like 12 books from my shelf to see how did Emily Henry do it, that where it didn't, and how did this person do it, and how did, so that in that way it's good. But sometimes there's that voice in your head that's like, you're never going to be as good as fill in the blank with
So and
many,
so,
many
yeah.
authors, right? So I know some people only read outside of their genre when they're writing. I don't do that. I kind of read all over the place and I read what I want to read. But
Yeah. I feel like I read a lot of different things too, which is why when it comes to comps, I can have a hard time because I think, well, what do I like to read? Well, it might not be exactly what I'm writing. It could be all different things.
it
But
is
you
hard.
mentioned the industry a bit, YA versus adult. So, you know, the crazy world of publishing. We've talked about that. You've had a long history of dealing with it. What's the most frustrating thing for you about being a writer with completed manuscripts, books that you really want to get out there and sell? What's I mean, if you can even pick one thing, what is the most frustrating thing about trying to publish?
I think anything I say, there's probably like a really good solution for that I'm just not really interested in tackling right now. But I do
Yeah.
think it's really hard to get through all the gatekeepers. And it's super
Yeah.
frustrating when you have a book that you love. And then, like I'm a realist. I get that I could love it and maybe other people won't love it. But then I had like a number of beta readers and a number of authors that are published and respected read it. And they were like, I love this book. And maybe they were
Yeah.
lying to me, like I'm still a realist. Then I went through the querying process and I got a lot of requests for full, and then it just didn't work out like over and over. And then I hired a developmental editor because I was like, somebody recommended, like, just do that. Maybe they'll be able to pinpoint the one thing that's wrong. And this was someone who had worked at like major publishing houses, had a really long, like, decades career at all the major not, I don't know about all, but a number. And she came back and was like, I love it. I think, just know that the publishing industry doesn't
Yeah.
always work. And that's sort of, I mean, I guess it's the lack of control is really what, like, you really, I mean, and you could go self-publish and then have control, but that's scary too, because then it's your fault if it fails like 100%. Right.
Right.
So
I know. I was saying to somebody this week, sort of relating this experience with pitching to agents at this retreat and being able to sit next to one of them at lunch who sort of admitted very blithely, I thought, that, oh, in more than 10 years of doing this, I've never signed anybody from in person pitches, which, you know, and then, pass the salt. It was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what are we doing here? It felt a little bit like, is this some cruel, like, you're never going to get this, but just keep trying, just keep trying. And we're kind of this puppet master. I don't know. Okay. I don't want to turn into it. You see my bitter side come out, but it sometimes feels like this exercise in futility. Like they're saying, we don't need you to be perfect, but we want this, and this, and this, and put it in this order. And you got to get us in the first sentence. Otherwise we're not going to read your letter. So
it really is
yeah,
though a lot about like what they're looking like. It's I know everybody
yeah,
kept saying at the conference, like, remember, it's not personal, it's a business. And I totally understand that sentiment. And I think that's true. At the same time, I'm like, it's 100% personal. Like it's my book that I like, but it is like publishing is a business. And they're not necessarily picking the thing. I don't even know. I do know that probably what that agent said about not signing anybody from a in-person pitch, like it probably the percentage of people they're signing period is so small that that isn't necessarily that relevant of a statistic. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
there's that. Yeah, they've got room for this many people, and they're getting inundated with with so many requests and queries.
and maybe what
So
she meant was
yeah.
like, right, like, I don't know. I have a friend who got their agent, like they didn't get their agent from an in-person pitch, but they pitched in person to their agent, sent in their manuscript and got that agent. So like it was her pages that got her the agent, but she did. So I don't know if she'd queried the agent, like cold queried the agent, if that would have been the same trajectory. But she
Right.
did meet the agent originally at an in-person pitch and got her agent that way.
Got it.
So that's one story. We have one.
Yeah, well, I like that story because I was just going to say, so how do we, as wanting to go this route as getting an agent and going with traditional publishing, hopefully one of the big five, how do we keep going? How do we, how do we, how do we not lay our heads down and, cry in despair when it does seem like, and they said this themselves, it's the timing, it's the market, it's the agent, and whether they happen to like it, they have to fall in love with it in order to want to sell it. And if they have room in their list and whether they're open to queries, it's all of this perfect storm that comes together. Got it. And I know the only way to, we just got to keep trying. And you just don't know. There's, like you said, there's no control here. But so how do we keep our spirits up?
Well, I think it helps. I'm in like one writers group on Facebook. It's a small group. I mean, on the one hand, this is a positive, and on the other hand, it feels less positive that when we started, I think a lot of us were not published or agented, and now almost everyone is. Like, there's like maybe like a handful
Wow.
of us that aren't. But seeing how like and hearing their struggles, even through like people will talk about their struggles and how they were ready to quit and then they didn't. And I just think
Yes,
like
yes.
that's like the person who's gonna make it is the person who keeps trying, right?
Yeah.
You
And just
know,
to, I always say too, like enjoy the journey, the process, enjoy the books you're working on for yourself. It's sort of, I'm thinking there's a lot of parallels to, I think, the music industry. And so I've got family members pursuing that. My daughter's a songwriter and some other family members who are musicians. And, you know, there's that, I think there's that misunderstanding or that idea that people just overnight hit it big and are successful. And of course, we know that's not the case, that, these sort of overnight successes have been working hard for years and years and years. So it's the same in publishing as well. But I do think we have to just enjoy it for the craft itself, enjoy writing, the feeling that it gets us, and read and just have fun reading. So give us
absolutely.
some good beach reads. What do you recommend, like, for this weekend? If someone wants to go sit on the beach and have a lighthearted kind of rom-com, what would be a good one to grab?
Well, I was trying to think of something that isn't on every list already, but I can't. I just finished the new Annabelle Moynihan book, Summer Romance, and it's like it's so good. I was like
Yes.
swooning almost immediately, and it's so if you
Is this
haven't,
adult or young
it's
A or
adult,
YA?
adult, it's
Adult.
adult.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she's a like her book has been on every like must list of the summer. Like she's but this and I just loved it so much. I have to give it another like pitch. I also
Great.
just read coming out Tuesday by Allie Brady is
Oop, looks like we froze. Did I lose you, Mary? Oh, there you go.
no,
You
there
froze
I
for
am.
just a
For a
second.
second. Yeah.
You said coming out Tuesday is Allie Brady, and then I
It's
missed that.
until next summer is
Okay.
the book. And it's set at a summer camp and it's closing. And so they're having adults come back who have been at the camp before for like one last summer. And
Okay.
it's like a story about friendship. It's two authors, so they're co-authors. So there's two storylines and two romances, and then the friendship arc. And it was super fun and really lovely. And it's a great beach read.
Oh,
I'm
that
trying to
sounds
think.
fun.
And then
Yeah,
this
because we've
was
all been to summer camp, right? And have memories of that.
Right. If you're a camp person, you need to read it. It's super, super fun.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then I also love, this is maybe not a beach read, but Margot's Got Money Troubles
Okay.
came out last month, and it's just such a beautiful book. The structure was fascinating to me, and it like the ideas of feminism and what is like what's okay to be feminist and how to take care of yourself. We're just it deals with OnlyFans a little bit and a teen mom, and but she uses this structure where I think it starts in third person, and then she is like, I'm telling it in third person because like things I'm uncomfortable sharing with you, it's easier to distance myself, and then it switches to first. It was just a
Wow.
really, really brilliant book, and I loved it. And
Oh,
she's actually going to be in Chicago in July as well. I think maybe the 17th, sometime mid-July.
really?
She's going to be at the Fine Arts Building downtown at that bookstore, which I should know what it's called, but I don't.
Okay.
Apologies. But it's Rufy Thorpe.
Oh, that one sounds great. I want to get that one first because I like what you said about changing point of view. And then, of course, her coming to Chicago would be great to go
Yeah,
see her.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mary. This has been so great. I feel like you could give us, continue to give us all kinds of tips and just talk books and recap some of the best ones to pick up. But we'll let you go for now.
Anytime.
I'll
Yeah.
have you back again. We'll talk more about our own writing. Maybe we'll get into good bitch session about something or other. I don't know.
Or
We'll
maybe
see
we'll
what's
have good
happening.
news. Maybe we'll come together for
That's
good
right.
news. Let's
That's
put that out.
right.
I mean, I'm all for complaining, mind you. I love a good complaining. But let's
I
put
read
the
that on your website. I loved that. The about you. It was so funny. So I'm going to put that link, like I said. It was just so charming. I won't give too much away, but yeah, your about section, Mary's about section, just talk about what a complainer she is, but just done in just the most charming way. So, um, all right. Well, I'll put all those links so people can check you out,
thank
and
you so much.
we will make plans to see each other at some kind of live events.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it was so great to thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful, and I love chatting.
Yeah. Great. Well, I will talk to you soon and have a wonderful holiday weekend.
You too.
And
Bye,
say hi to
Tammy.
Rob.
I
Rob.
will. I will. And say hi to Scott, who I
Okay,
can't
I
wait to
will.
meet. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.